I want to talk today about a topic arising out of Michael Sandel's book, What Money Can't Buy, a book about morality and markets. And a lot of people have said as market-based thinking has infiltrated more and more parts of Western liberal democracies, a lot of people have said that markets can do many good things that promotes good behavior, constructive behavior. So one example of a way in which markets perhaps can promote constructive behavior is uh, giving money for grades. This is a practice that parents have done informally for many years. They give their children money if the children get A's, or less money if they get B's. And it's a practice that has actually been studied on a widespread scale in several different school districts around the country, with mixed results. Sometimes the students improve their academic performance when they're paid well. Sometimes their academic performance doesn't really show much improvement. But one criticism that I want to raise against this kind of a practice, the practice of paying children or paying students for good grades, and this is a criticism of any attempts to use markets-based thinking to try to promote good behavior, is that the students, the children, become motivated by the money. Okay, so perhaps their behavior could improve. Perhaps it does improve even for quite some time, but the question always then is whether they would continue to behave well, continue to get good grades if and when the money is withdrawn. And that's the real rubber meets the road question, where you find out whether persons are being motivated by the monetary incentive or whether they're being motivated by the behavior itself. Now, the hope is always that perhaps if the monetary incentive can be there long enough and if it is motivating enough, perhaps the behavior can become habitual and the student or the child can come to do the behavior whether or not he or she is being paid once the payment stops. Results are mixed about this when it comes to paying students for grades, and even when results aren't providing us with direct guidance, there have also been many questions raised about whether persons continue to behave well in the hopes that they might get good payment later on, perhaps in the form of a job, and whether that is actually compromising their motives when they should be motivated by a desire to do the good behavior for its own sake. Another example of using markets to try to promote good behavior can be found in the recent studies that have been done to try to use money to incentivize people to become healthier. So, for instance, the practice, the reality in many healthcare systems, insurance systems, company-driven insurance programs, is that the healthy persons subsidize the unhealthy persons. And so when people are overweight or have hypertension or maybe have been smokers for a long time, often their unhealthy practices are not things that their insurance premiums can cover, and so their unhealthy practices and the medical treatment that is required for those practices needs to be covered by the premiums of the healthy persons. And so many companies have attempted to try to incentivize good behavior by paying people to quit smoking or to lose weight or to cut out fatty or sugary foods from their diets. This seems to work in some cases, and that's good. A criticism raised against it is that it stops working when people cease being paid, and that appears to be the case in some circumstances. And here's another criticism, one that I didn't raise against the paying students for good grades cases, but perhaps one that could be raised there as well. The persons who do get paid for the good behavior are being rewarded, but what about the persons who are doing the good behavior without being paid? The persons, say, in the health care plan example, who are living a healthy lifestyle without being paid. Are they being punished by a system that pays persons to improve their health? Are they being unfairly singled out and punished in an unequal way, an inegalitarian way, by a system that especially is geared toward incentivizing the good behavior of persons who previously had been behaving poorly? If so, the system might actually end up motivating persons in wrongful ways by appearing to reward persons whose behaviors have been less healthy and appearing to penalize persons whose behaviors are more healthy. At any rate, the general topic of using market mechanisms to promote or incentivize good behavior is a controversial one that has had some success, but that also raises some difficult moral questions that really have yet to be resolved, and that perhaps need to be resolved before we continue to use markets to try to improve persons' behavior to make the society more efficient in Western liberal democracies.